In this video, we're going to do the unboxing of the Brora Triptych. So welcome back to the channel everyone, I'm Mark Littler, I'm a whiskey broker, whiskey consultant, whiskey market analyst, and if you've got whiskey to buy or sell, head over to marklittler.com and we've got loads of resources there. Now today we're going to do something slightly different. I want to put you in the position of somebody who has just spent £30,000 on a set of whiskey. More specifically, they've spent £30,000 on a Brora Triptych. And let's unbox it. Let's see what £30,000 worth of whiskey looks like if you're unboxing it and if you're looking at it in 2022. Now, we can't do it here. We can't do it in this set where we normally do our videos because you need a lot of space, as you'll see. So let's jump downstairs and where we've got a bit more space. There we go. How's that? We are in a very big room. Why are we in such a big room? Well, give me 1 second. And here we go. You probably can't see it yet, but on the top of the box here, it says 17 to 50 kilos caution. This is a big box, so let me just show you just how big a box we're dealing with here. Like, I'm a big guy, I'm 6'2", this is on a table, this is a big set. So the first thing I think we have to do is get this big outer cardboard box out of the way. So let's not try and put my back out. And then inside you can see we've got this big foam protective insert, so let's put that to one side. And then let's get another big cardboard box out. Wow, that's heavy. Oh, that's the back. Let's spin it round to the front. And here you go. I mean, like, it's a gorgeous box, isn't it? Lots of gold embossing on there, and then obviously inside, I love this part, when you undo the lid, which is very secure, this front panel comes down to reveal more packaging. So it really is quite a substantial piece of work. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this on the floor now, because we need to get the box, the big wooden box, out. So we're into cardboard box number 2. We've got more unpacking to do. There's that bit of protection off there. Now let's try, and this really is a 2-person job. Let's get these out. There we go. There we go. And there it is. For the first time, you actually get to see what the triptych looks like. So you've got some really beautiful detailing on the box. There's these blue marks that often, people often think that this is like a scuff or is it being marked. No, this is actually all part of it. And then obviously, let me just move this trolley out the background, because when you do the reveal on this one, it really is quite a work of art. I mean, what a stunning case that is. So obviously we're still all in the packaging here, we've still got all the original transport pieces on. So let's take the transport bits of foam out, and then we can have a look at everything as it was meant to be seen. There we go. So let's put these back on their presentation plaques now, and then we can start taking a look at it properly. So I think, why not? Let's do the reveal again, because now you've got all the bits of packaging off. You can kind of see that if you had just spent £30,000 on this, one, you've got a lot of packaging to dispose of, but also you've got a really dramatic piece of presentation there. Now, the first thing that comes to mind is you're going to need a lot of space to put this. Like, if you're wanting to keep this out on display, that's taking up the best part of a metre's worth of space just to display 3 50 centilitre bottles. These doors are all on rollers, absolutely beautiful, and they actually snap shut with magnets in there. So it's really nice. Now, let's take a look at the important things first of all. Let's start with the whiskies. Let's go to the oldest one first of all, and this is a 1972 48-year-old Brora. Now this is from the 1972 vintage, which is, you know, widely regarded as one of the best vintages for Brora. It's, you know, all the Brora rare malts, the 1972s that make 10-20 grand, they've all come from the 72 vintage. A lot of the ones on Whisky Fun that are the most highest rated come from the 72 vintage. This one I believe has got 96 points on Whisky Fun, also from the 1972 vintage. Just sensational whiskey. The bottles themselves, I don't know if you can see, but they're actually triangular. Really heavy, a lot of crystal in this one. And then this is the 1977, and this is a 43-year-old bottling, and this is from the Age of Peat. Now, between 1972 and 1980, the Brora distillery was put into production with a slightly heavier, heavily peated malts to try and create something that was similar to what was being used in the blends by Kalila. Of course, Kalila went offline in that period to be rebuilt, so Brora is the workhorse that took up that extra work really. So that period between 1972 and 1980 is when you get some really super heavily peated whiskies, and they are really phenomenal. Now, the last one that we've got here of the whiskies itself is the 1982. This is a 38-year-old. This is called the Timeless Original, and this is really to sort of celebrate the, well, I don't know what this is celebrating. Well, I do know what it's celebrating. It's celebrating the waxiness, the typical waxy profile that you get with Clynelish and Brora, and it's just a stunning set of bottles. You know, you've got to think here that there's only 1.5 litres of whiskey, so there's a heck of a lot of presentation going on here for 1.5 litres of whiskey, but the presentation sort of carries on, because that's assuming that you've just dropped your 30k on this. You're obviously going to want to open it, and you're going to need to put a stopper in the top. Now, inside each of these drawers, it's Elusive Legacy, Age of Peat and Timeless Original. Each one of these drawers contains a little stopper, which again is a work of art. Beautifully engraved with the Scottish wildcat on the top there. Established date 1819, of course, set up by the Duke of Sutherland. And of course, Brora was originally called Clynelish when it first set up. So we've got one stopper for each of them, and we've got the gold, silver and the bronze happening here as well. And then also, when you take the bottles out of here, you've got more things. Coasters. So if you were to take these out and you were not to shame your table with the presence of your bottle of Brora, there you go, you've got a beautiful coaster. I'm sure there is a reason behind these elements, because you've got here this sort of like marble effect on the front of the bottle and on the top of the bottle, and it's referenced again on that coaster. Likewise on the gold as well. Now, there's one other thing that's in this box which you might not necessarily be able to see, and it's this little booklet. Now, one end pushes down, and then inside you get your little presentation book, because obviously you've spent a lot of money, you need to read about it. So we've got all the details here. After 36 years it's alive again, because obviously this triptych is to celebrate the reopening of the distillery. Beautiful picture of the distillery there. Details about the triptych, a one-off special release to mark the reopening of the doors to the world, of 3 rare malts to represent the 3 distinctive styles that have come from the distillery over the years. You've got tasting notes as well. I'd love to be able to confirm these, but unfortunately I'm not able to do that. Again, a few more photographs here. And again, this on the back page here is basically a warm welcome to the Brora community, and it basically extends a welcome to whoever's purchased this to go on a tour and basically have a personal visit around the distillery. And it just really is, it's a lovely leather bound book actually, and then that just tips away and goes away nice and neat in there. And then if we put these bottles back on their plinths, it just really is a stunning piece of presentation. And this sort of like raises a wider point of sort of like, why on earth does this need to look the way it does? It doesn't need these fancy doors, these fancy bottles. but it all adds to it. And you know, we've said it a lot of times on this channel, whiskey is now more than just the liquid that's in the bottles. Does any of this enhance the taste of the whiskey? Well, I think you could probably argue that it does. If you go to a, you know, Michelin starred restaurant, the ambiance is nice, the decoration's nice, the glassware's nice. All of these things contribute in a sensory way to how you enjoy and perceive that product. And it's the same with this. I think if these were just in tall rounds, who would care about it? Probably no one. Who would buy it? Probably a lot fewer people than have just spent 30,000 on these, which I believe are all now sold out. But it really is a sensational piece of design, and I think it is probably one of the best designed and engineered releases. You know, we've got the Macallan Reach that came out not long ago. Now that came to mixed reviews in the community. There were people sort of saying that the hands look like zombie hands, basically. You know, it's on the forums, it's on Reddit and places like that, and I can see where people are coming from. I quite appreciate it as a work of art, but I can see what they're coming from. Whereas this, there's no sort of like a humanoid element in here. It is all just display, a lovely plinth, and it is just completely over the top. So what do you think? You've just spent £30,000 on this triptych. Are you pleased with the presentation, or are you a bit gutted that you've only got 3 50 centilitre bottles at the end of it all? It is expensive whiskey, really expensive whiskey, but critically, according to Whiskey Fun, the whiskey is sensational. From our perspective here, from the display, you know, from the aesthetics of it all, from how it works coherently as a set, is sensational. So would you be happy with this if it arrived? What would your wife say? What would your husband say if these boxes all arrived? It's not exactly a bottle that you can sneak into your collection quite easily. So get in the comments below and let us know what you think of this bottling.